do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it? Hug the person next to you, tell them you love them. Saturday, the Change Choir, give them a hand. Saturday's Change Choir. Certainly we're happy to be here another Saturday morning for the Saturday morning action rally for you that are here live at the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And for you that are listening live on 1190 WLIB AM in New York, and you that are watching live stream around the country, we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Certainly give a hand to our inspirational speaker this morning, my friend, Reverend Stephen Carter. Certainly we enjoyed him this morning, and certainly I want to thank our panel, legal panel last Saturday that broke down what is going on in government. I was I did 3 HBCUs last week. I'll get into that later. But I want to thank them for that. Let me sadly announce the passing of Reverend Frank J. Blackshear of Greater Zion Hill Baptist Church, and he'll be funeralized Tuesday, May 14th at Canaan Baptist Church on 116th Street. We all know where they are, Reverend Blackshear. And I see our national board member, Reverend Johnny Green, is here with us, and certainly Bishop Herbert Daughtry. Give them both a hand. Both of whom knew Reverend Blackshear well. And we join in our condolences for the Blackshear family. Then, of course, Monday night we'll all be at Canaan for Kathy's Scholarship Fund, our annual scholarship fund, at 7 o'clock at 116th Street and Lenox Avenue. Come out and support. She gives her birthday to scholarship every year. Wow. and we want to be there in support of her. And I don't know all of the performers this year, but it's usually a great gospel show, and we want everybody to be present. Let me say on one of the announcements I want to make is that on Monday, we're all going to One Police Plaza to support the family of Eric Garner as the police NYPD hearings begin on the officer Palladino who would have, in my judgment, should have faced charges for the chokehold death of Eric Garner. It is down now to whether or not he will maintain a job in NYPD. He has been paid all the time. The hearings will start 9:30 on Monday, and it will go on from there probably over a couple of days, but it will start 9:30 on Monday morning. Some of us will be there at some point on Monday, but the hearings will start. I ask everyone to meet our chapter leaders there at 9:30. I'll be there in mid-morning joining them to show our support. We've been with that family from the beginning, and we will be with them throughout this proceeding. In my judgment, it is not the officer on trial. It is NYPD on trial. If you're going to have rules, then the rules ought to be enforced. And chokehold is against policy. Now, they're saying that the Civilian Complaint Review Board didn't file in time that he be tried on lesser charges on the rules. But the fact of the matter is, it was he in the line of duty that caused the death of Eric Garner, which is enough to take him off his job. And we do not believe any technicality ought to deal with the fact that in the line of duty, you cause the untimely death of a human being, and that cannot go forward as if it is acceptable behavior in the city of New York. So we're going to be there. Hardy the lawyer, but I'm telling you that this legal stuff I'm reading in the paper, they sounding like Trump. Well, all this, well, you know, they didn't file for this. They can only deal with it if it was a crime of women. The man was killed, according to the coroner, based on the chokehold, based on pressure on him. And it was done by an officer in the line of duty. If he was not in the line of duty, he would have had no right to even question him, lest not apprehend him. So if his job-related offense caused the death, y'all can go through any technicality you want. Are you saying now that it's legal in the city of New York for an officer to cause a death of an unarmed person that was not harming him and keep his job? That's what's on trial.
All right.
Y'all be clear on that.
Yeah.
That's what's on trial. And we ain't gonna have no local William Balls come with a summation report. So let's be straight up and clear. Wednesday, I was in Washington meeting with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and others around the outcomes of National Action Network's convention. And I wanted to brief her that she met with the heads of the National Civil Rights Group, 6 National Civil Rights Groups, NAACP, Urban League, Legal Defense Fund, National Action Network, and on. And as I was riding, I flew from Pittsburgh into Washington, I heard about this fire in Harlem near our headquarters. And William Allen and others were on the scene from National Action Network. Right away, people began asking, what happened? The question is not how it happened. The issue is that it happened. And our first job is to make sure we stand with those in pain while they look for whatever the reason, the cause. If you are so political that you don't care about the death of 4 children, a woman and a man, then you don't love the people you claim to want to lead. I mean, I cannot believe some of the insensitivity that some people show. Well, was it their fault or was it they did that? I don't care whose fault it was. When you got babies dying in your community, a mother that's trying to raise her babies, friend there in the house, and burned to death, and they don't know how they're going to get through this. If the community can't stand with them now, then the community is not a community. So I want to thank Derek Ferguson. I want to thank Tony Herbert, who was just elected Brooklyn East National Action Network. Tony Herbert was on the scene early. I want to thank William Allen, Katrina, and the rest that not only came but was there all day with other groups, Aisha Shakur and others there all day, and Aisha Saiku and others all day, because that's what the community should be about. Reverend Johnny Green here this morning because he wanted to stand with this family. And he's, got preaching dates all over the country. I tried to get his little black book and fit in some of them, but I done lost so much weight they don't think it's him no more. And Bishop Daughtry. And I wanted this family to know, because let me tell you something, it's hard to deal with death of loved ones. It is even more difficult when some of them are children. But it's worse when it was something unexpected. And this will last for the rest of their lives. When these cameras are gone, they will live with the fact that their loved ones weren't there. Andrea Polidor, Mohammed Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, then the babies, Nakia Polidor, Nakaira. That's correct me now, because y'all know I went to public school, so. Nakia Polidor, Andre Polidor, Brooklyn Polidor, and Elijah. And Eli was 3 years old. Brooklyn 6 years old. Andre 4 years old. Nakaira 11 years old. Andre's 8. Okay. And Elijah just turned 4. And we have Diane Blackwell with us, the president of the Samuel Houses. Where's Diane? All right. Thank you. Come on up, Diane. I want the family to come. Raven raised the daughter of the deceased, I understand, as a rival. Raven, come on up. Kendra Polidor, Mozak, Natal Polidor, Nadia Polidor, Melvin Polidor, Aura Crosby, and Gene Bellata, who's the father of Eli. Y'all come up to the platform. Give this family a hand. Are we with them? Are we going to stand with them and show them love? Come on, y'all can do better than that. Bishop Daughtry and Reverend Green join us. Let me say, I do not know what arrangements they've made. I do not know what they are in position to do or not do. But I do know that they've got to deal with 6 funerals. And they've got to deal with how to pick up the pieces and move on. And we wanted to urge our community to support them financially. Let me say this out front. Derek, come up and William Allen, of course. I don't want anybody sending any money to Nash Action Network, not one dime. I want it to go to wherever the family designates. I don't want Nan to get a dime. I don't want to be responsible for a dime. I want to give to the family's designation. And I'm starting off, whatever the family tells me to write it out to, with National, to Reverend. Nattel's going to be the conduit. All right? You, Nattel.
Right here.
Come up here. Stand up here. Because I had to deal with a lot of preachers. I never got my money, so I want you to. Nattel is going to be the recipient. I'm going to start the fundraising from Nash Action Network with $5,000. And I'm going to add to that $1,000 from me personally. So I'm giving her $6,000 to begin the fundraising. Because I'm hearing on the news people talk about Nash Action Network raising money. Nash Action Network is giving money. And the rest of those that want to give can see Nattel. Well, I'm not raising money. Nobody give money. Y'all listen on radio. Don't send it to Nan. Get it to Nattel. We're not raising money. Anybody tell you they from Nan raising money for the fire family, call the police and turn them in. So Nattel, you tell me who to make this check. You hold the check. And I also want to bring forward one of the first people to call and say we need to help raise funds for the family and keep going is their home senator, State Senator Brian Benjamin, who has been a real giant in our community and who is part of the Nash Action Network family. And I want to bring him on to make remarks while he's here. State Senator Brian Benjamin.
Thank you, Reverend Sharpton. I'm here with a heavy heart because as the senator, I was in Albany when I heard of the fire, and I did my best to get down as soon as I could. But just know that we're all here with you. We're all here with the family, and I wanted to announce that I'm going to match Reverend Sharpton's gift to the family, and I will have a check for you tomorrow to whoever is appropriate for that. Harlem comes together to support Harlem whenever a tragedy occurs. We are here for each other. And I will do all I can to support the family. I'm being asked to help with coordinating some of the other resources to bring to you. So we should sit down afterwards and talk about the mechanics of how we make that all happen. And just know that we will work to make sure that this process is as painless as possible as you're dealing with the loss of so many loved ones. And so we'll do the best we can to help. Thank you very much.
Give him a hand, Senator Brian Benjamin. Reverend Johnny Green just said Mount Nebo Baptist Church, Nattel's giving $1,000. Give him a hand. Now, if anybody wants to know how to get to Nattel, they can call Senator Benjamin's office or Nan, and we'll direct you to Nattel. I'm not going to give out a number on the radio because I don't want crazy folk. But all checks and stuff will be guided by Nattel, not Nash Action Network, not Brian Benjamin. But we will guide you there because we want to be able, in their pain, to be able that they can funeralize and make these next few weeks with dignity and with the respect and at least some comfort of knowing that their community is with them and stands with them and continues to stand. We right here in the neighborhood, we right here for you at any time. Whatever you need, we are there. We can't bring back your loss, but we can sure share the burden. Thank you all for being with us this morning. Give them some love as they take their seat. Give them some love. It ought to be a natural reaction that when a tragedy occurs, that we stand up and do something. I was riding up the Swan, I heard on the news, Nash Action Network going to do something with the family, Reverend Sharpton, and people will say, here you go again. That's right, that's exactly what we do. That's what we do. Let's welcome our Impact Television family. Give them a hand joining us from around the world. Don't be weary when you do it in well-being. Don't apologize for doing right. They'll say, here we go again with the fire thing. That's what we do. They'll say Monday, we go to one police plaza, here we go again. Yes, that's what we do. Get used to, yes, that's right. Every time something happens, here we go again. And we're going to keep on going as long as we can. And you need to get going too. Is that not right? I never understood why folk got defensive about doing what is right. And the only ones that ask you why you doing what's right is somebody that do wrong or gonna do nothing. Why you did so-and-so, Reverend Shaw? Because you didn't. That's why. If you showed up, I wouldn't have had room to show up. I also want to, by the way, announcements, I'm going to get into my message, is I want to announce that on Monday, that Governor Andrew Cuomo has announced, and we getting the picket signs ready for him, the new director of African American Affairs at his office is Brandon Hicks, who was our national field organizer. He came in about a month ago and told me that he'd been recommended by Paul Brazard, who used to work here, and that he wanted me to know that he may be going on to the governor's office. I said, all right. He said, they got to vet me. I said, okay. He come back and said they vetted him and that he started. Come back yesterday. I said, when did you start? He said, Monday. I said, well, Johnny Green and I got to go and deal with the Eric Garner case Monday, but we'll be marching on you by Tuesday or Wednesday. Just give us a couple of days. So you're going from the marcher to the marched. But give Brandon a hand, the new head of African. One of the things that I'm glad that when I look at how Brandon and Paul come from Nan and went in the governor's office. When I was in Washington Post the other day, Hakeem Jeffries grew up a member of NAN, is now fourth in line in Congress. Rachel Norlinger went from here to Chief of Staff of the First Lady and on now a managing director in a large PR firm. When I look at just so many that have come through here. And many people talk about the noisemakers who didn't do nothing. And you got to ask yourself, how did some come through and achieve something, and you ain't got nothing but to complain about? It can't be Nan, it got to be you. Hello. Now everybody come through here. Brandon been here 2 years going to governor's office. And you was here twice that long, some of y'all 10 times that long. And ain't got nothing but a complaint or criticism. Ain't nothing wrong with Nan, something wrong with you. You supposed to come through here and grow. This is a fertile ground to grow. This ain't a resting home for you to lay down and relax. You know, some folks be sitting around here, Bishop Daughtry, on death wish. Be sitting around waiting to see if I'm going to kill over. Oh, I know what they're doing. The reason why some folk grow is they come to grow. Others come here to sit down and say, he can't last for so long, I'm going to be next in line. So they on death wish. I'm up 5 in the morning working out, and they snoring. I ain't going nowhere for a long time. And then they get mad that I ain't died for them. Like I'm in the way of their career. If I died, it ain't gonna make you no better. Let me get up every morning, look at Instagram. Did he get up again? Yeah, I'm up. in my sweats working out while you laying up in the bed, snoring and fighting. I ain't on television yet. Oh yeah, I am, okay. But give another hand, Brandon. Last Friday, I left and went, as you know, Wednesday before last, we came back from London, speaking of Cambridge. But I, with great pride, last Friday, I went and received an honorary degree and did the commencement address at Tennessee State University in Nashville. And I want to thank President Glenda Glover. Then I went from there to Denmark, South Carolina, and last Saturday did the commencement address and got an honorary degree from Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. Went from there to Virginia and preached the 134th anniversary of the First Baptist Church. Reverend Dwight Jones, former mayor of Richmond, was the pastor, member of our national board, and then went from there back to Nashville Monday, where I did the commencement and got an honorary degree from Fisk University. I'm not saying that for bragging, even though I want my grandson to know that I'm a triple doctor this year. But to thank those institutions for honoring me and for the inspiration to me to be able to talk to young students on a very important day that they will not forget. Yes, nobody forgets their graduation day. And to be able to address them on their day of graduation, it was a real honor to me. And to do 4 cities in the same week I just had come back from 2 days in London shows that I'm in shape and I ain't going nowhere no time soon. I have 2 assistants, both of them younger than me, and both of them wore out. One of them half my age and still sleep. But my message to them is that we are in a time that they need to prepare themselves more than ever to deal with changing the course of where this country's going. We are facing a situation under this administration that is not going to undo itself. It's going to take aggressive and genuine work from the bottom to the top. I mean, the arguments that's going on. Can you believe, and this ain't no Southern problem now, this is nationwide. We in New York City, for you watching now on Impact, in New York, they're arguing whether a policeman that choked a man to death should keep his job. Like there's something debatable about that. They have a specialized test to get in 8 specialized schools. Only 7 blacks got in 1 school. Less than 10% of blacks and Latinos citywide when they're over 60% of the students. And they're arguing about whether they ought to keep the test. And folk telling me, well, we can change. If something is broke, you get rid of it. And if you're going to fix it, you don't keep it till you fix it. You throw it out and come in with something else. Our education committee for the New York City chapter said that they support Mayor de Blasio and Councilman Barron's bill about getting rid of the test. Some reporter called me asking, do I agree with my education committee? Are you out of your mind? I mean, they have no respect for black folk. city chapter would go somewhere and testify, and we ain't got no sense to know what we do. Well, some folk are on the other side. All right, we can disagree without disagreeable. We don't have to agree on everything. Everybody they ain't no bad folk because we disagree on a policy. But I support the organization's position. That's why we built an organization. This ain't no fan club, this is an organization. And if Dr. Cody and the Education Committee made a determination, they are the experts in that area, and I support them and stand with them. Get rid of the elite test. This is about the masses, not the classes. We're not talking about, well, we ain't heard nothing from Reverend Al, so he must not be with it. Will you hear me now?
Oh, thank you.
And that, I want to be clear, because I think a lot of us just look for foolishness. As we look at what's going on, first of all, look at what has happened in this city. Look what has happened in this nation. This week alone, we see the president being exposed that in a 10-year period, he owed over $1 billion in 10 years. And then because of the losses, several of those years he had to pay no tax. Now, isn't that interesting? What is interesting about that to me is during that same period, he writes a book, The Art of the Deal. So while you are telling folk how to cut a deal and how to make yourself successful, you have run your businesses in the ground, bankrupt yourself several times, owe people everywhere, and paying no taxes. Now, I ain't got nothing against folks being broke. Most of us done been through that. Some of us, including me, have owed back taxes, but we paid them. And we wasn't running around writing books about the art of the deal. I ain't never professed to be no great businessman. I'm an actor. But he professed to be a great businessman. So how did you sell what you was not? Unless in that deep down in, you are deceptive and duplicitous. And if you were deceptive about who you were, then you're deceptive now and have deceived the American public. And if you were conning then is that what you're doing now? That is where we are. Absolutely. You cannot judge people by what you call them. You judge people by what they say about themselves. I didn't say that Trump was a billionaire. He said it. I didn't say that Trump was a master entrepreneur. He said it. So he didn't live up to what he said. Now, you bring that now into the area, this is what we were in Washington about. Come on. Where they have now called on the Congress, has said we want to examine his taxes. And we want to question certain people that work in the White House. They have said, well, we are going to use executive privilege to not respond. First of all, they waived executive privilege when they agreed to being interviewed by the special counsel. Second of all, what do you have to hide that you can't explain to people in the first place? But here's the thing that a lot of people are missing. If, in fact, you were that far in the hole and no bank would lend you money, then how did you get out of all of that? Where did the money come from? And are the sources that you got the money from in a position to compromise you now on the decisions that you make as the President of the United States? That is why it is in the interest of the country that they be able to see where his source of income came from. This ain't about gossip. We don't care if he was worth $4 billion or no billion. We want to know where did it come from. If you that far in the hole, how'd you get out the hole? Who threw you the rope? And what do you owe them for climbing out that rope? So that is in the interest of national security. Now, fast forward. Michael Cohen, his lawyer, and Fixer, went to jail Monday. Said that they were cutting a deal to build a Trump edifice in Moscow. So y'all were doing business in Russia. Do the Russians have some on you? No. Well then, let's see the taxes. Let's see where your income comes from. If you ain't got nothing to hide, then why are you hiding? Usually folks don't have nothing to hide, don't start hiding. And our position has been to the Democrats that they need to keep putting their foot on the gas on these investigations. And at the same time, they must stand up and fight for the American people for the interest that we need in terms of economic justice and criminal justice, as well as dealing with voting rights. One of the things we're getting ready to deal with in Florida, I'm going after our staff retreat, spend a lot of time in Florida because Amendment 4 that we won, with a lot of groups out there getting the right of ex-felons to vote. They are now trying to charge ex-felons, court case, and any of those legal expenses that you have to have done. You've had to pay that before you could vote. So that's their way of trying to put a poll tax on ex-felons. So we are dealing with that. Our Tallahassee chapter president, Reverend Holmes, and I'm going to be touring the state on that, again, following up Nan's convention, where we talked about it. Now you got all of this, I think about 22 folk running for president, if nobody else announced while I've been on the air. This evening, 5 o'clock, Politics Nation, 5 o'clock Eastern, on MSNBC, my MSNBC show, Bernie Sanders will be on live. I'm talking to all the candidates one by one, but one of the things that I'm saying to them is that we've got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of us have not want to see clearly the investigations go forward, but we also want to see them dealing with the issues in our community. So I want us to be diligent on that. Let me go into, let me say this. One of the things that I was thinking as we go in tomorrow is Mother's Day. One of the real untold stories in our community has been the role of women and mothers in our struggle. Sometimes our women had to stand down because our men were emasculated by the master. And sometimes it took more strength for a woman to stand down to allow her man to come into full manhood because he was denied that. I want y'all to follow me because I want get into your head with this. So in the woman standing down to allow us to blossom into what we were not allowed to be, some men use that to become abusive rather than appreciative. When your woman allows you to be what you were denied, that does not give you the right to take advantage of her. You ought to extol and appreciate that she appreciated that you were put in a situation that you were not responsible for. So we went from a level of where we were emasculated in the master's house to where we were put in a situation where, well, I'm the man of the house.
Yes, sir.
And what I say go. And you do what I tell you. Being abusive is not being a man. And we got this perverted definition of manhood based on some macho egotism rather than understanding that we were denied who we were and what we were and had to compensate that one for another. And in that compensation, we should not relax on perverted structures of behavior. That is one of the things that we cannot tolerate. Now, when we see what is going on in our community, where our people are disrespecting men and women, and we are not trying to build toward a healthy relationship, and then you gonna come one day a year talking about Happy Mother's Day, when every other day you call her another kind of mother. And our children grow up with a psychic scar of the disrespect and disregard of what men and women are. Let me tell you something. In order to justify slavery and segregation, they had to dehumanize black folk. I don't think people, wait a minute. I appreciate amen, but I'm going to do the preaching. We cannot have a situation that we do not understand that they had to dehumanize us to justify a structural or institutional kind of slavery and then segregation. Why did they start slavery? They started slavery to try and deal with the economic underpinnings of the South. And we were then brought in here during the slave trade, and we became the economic underpinning. And they justified it by saying we were less than human. Racism was to reinforce an economic exploitation. And that is why it is, in my opinion, the misunderstanding that many of us have, that we think only in race terms and not in why the racism was structured in the first place. The racism was structured so they could make money. anybody can become rich if you can work people for no money. If I can open up a business and ain't got to pay no workers, then I can get rich. And I think that many of us don't understand that the bedrock, we talk about reparations. When you hear people talk about reparations, they're talking about the fact that this country became wealthy because it never paid the people that generated the wealth. So when I was growing up and the reparations movement had started here in the city, and Queen Mother Moore and others was leading the reparations fight, it was about those that were saying you owe us for building a nation that we never got paid for. They have now reversed the argument to where like we are begging for something. No, we are giving you an invoice for services rendered. We already did the work. The question is the payment. If they left England and other parts of Western Europe and came to this country with no money and are able to, inside of 1 century, become a global power, it was based on the servitude, forced servitude, unpaid servitude of black people. And you justified it by saying we were less than human and we were born to be slaves. So you dehumanized us and you took God's creation and insulted God. Because you act like God created people to be slaves rather than God created people to be his children. Then you turn around and call yourself Christian when you believe in nothing if you can defy God and deny God's creation. And that is the basis of the reparations movement. I remember we started National Action Network, and Mother Blakely was here this morning, used to bring Queen Mother Boy and Bound on Saturdays when we were PS 175. And she passed. She was one of the main, her and Mr. McShaw, who had the bookstore on 125th Street. And then, in them days, reparations was considered a marginal issue. One of the things that we wanted to do, and now, is help make it a mainstream issue where presidential candidates have to address it. But it can't stop there. We don't want you to just address it, yeah, we'll study it. We want to deal with it. I don't want you, if I'm sick and I'm in the hospital and I'm saying you need to deal with my illness and you ignore me, that's bad. Then you come back and come in my room and say, all right, I'm not going to ignore you no more. I'm going to study your illness. Well, that still didn't heal me. I don't need you to study me. I need you to heal me. Commission is good. But how are we going to have the reparations? Who going to get it and how's it structured? And how do you deal with, this is going into my Mother's Day message, how do you deal with, Reverend Carter, the psychological damage that you have done to our people that have been passed on from one generation to the next? It was hard for our men to know what manhood was when you didn't let my granddaddy be a man. And you didn't let me be a man. So how are we going to teach what we was denied? Because you had to make us less than men to make yourself look like Superman. So the psychological damage has been passed on from generation to generation, which is why we define now our men in the wrong way. So our men try to act like they're studs rather than thinkers. And that they are judged by their brawn rather than their mind. When we were scientists and astrologers and philosophers and creators, we were not servants, we were thinkers, and we were the basis of what God made us. It is the way to celebrate Mother's Day is to realize that through all of that, Mother found a way to raise us anyhow. When you deal with the psychic warfare, the economic devastation, when you deal with the social emasculation, and through all of that, Mama found a way to raise children anyhow. Then you have a new appreciation for what Mother's Day is about. Because it's about mothers that understand the uniqueness of the black mother that stood up anyhow and stood up in every way and shape and form to do what was necessary to break through the chains that was imposed upon her very children. And these are the people that we ought to be honoring tomorrow. When you look at the mothers that had to raise children that went to schools that wasn't educating them, that had to live in buildings that had no heat in the wintertime and no air in the summertime, that had to feed them out of food distributors that had high sugar and no protein, yet somehow they were able to raise these children anyhow. Mothers that had to take being taunted and disrespected at the job, and there wasn't no Me Too movement to stand up for them, and they had to take it and struggle anyhow. Then you understand what Mother's Day means for us. Mothers that had to sacrifice what they needed to give their children. That's the mothers that we honor tomorrow. Too many of us act like there's just some day for some candies. That is just some ceremony. Mothers have been the backbone of our community. Because they had to understand what they were dealing with and understand the pain we would express even if we took it out on them. And I want you to really think about, a lot of us, I see this in too many young people. A lot of young people are more caught up in their story than they never look at their mama's story. They never stop and ask, what did you go through? How did you make it through? We're more into how we survive than how they survive to put us in a position to survive. And that's why tomorrow morning when I wake up, I thank God I had a good mother. I thank God I had a great mother. Because my mother was born in the Deep South, in Dothan, Alabama. My mother never finished elementary school. My mother never was given the ability to even stay in a hotel room in her hometown. My mother had to ride the back of the bus if the bus came through the colored neighborhood. And she left the South and came north, looking for a better life. Married my father, had my sister and I. And after building a business, he left her. And she still found a way, even in the hood of Brownsville, to raise me and my sister to be somebody. I didn't know nothing about no affordable care growing up. I knew when we got a head cold, Mama would take some baking soda and some honey and stir it together and give a tablespoon of that, and it would break the cold. I remember we'd go to school sometime, we didn't have money for meat. Mama would slice a banana. I ate a banana every morning working out in the gym. But I remember when I was growing up, Mama would slice a banana, put it on a bread with some mayonnaise and sugar, and give us a banana sandwich. And all of the kids I'd go to school with were taking out their big, thick ham sandwiches and turkey sandwiches. I was eating a banana sandwich. I didn't know that there was a welfare sandwich because my mother never taught me what I wasn't. My mother taught me what I was. My mother told me, don't worry about where you start, worry about where you're going, that there is a God that'll make a way for you. Son, you're special. Son, you're different. Son, you're unique. I thank God I had a great mother. Mama didn't raise me down. She raised me up. And if your mama instills that in you, you can make it. Because you come from her. You can get away from a lot of things. You can't come from the womb that you entered this world. That's why when Jesus was hanging on the cross, he said, woman, behold thy son, and behold thy mother. He dressed the mother. Even God, when God decided to bring his son in the world, he brought it through the womb of a mother. He didn't tap Joseph. He tapped Mary. Because the nurturing in the womb of a mother is the psychological and genetic continuity that will go into your life. So let us remember on Mother's Day the pain and burden that black mothers had to go through. And then as a result of that, know that your job and mine is to make their sacrifices, their investment, worthy of what it was. So when I walked across them stages last week and got those 3 honorary degrees, I applauded the president of the college, but I thank my mother. When I sit up at MSNBC and do a national television show, I thank those at MSNBC that hired me, but I thank my mother. Because it was them walks to the subway at Saratoga and Livonia Avenue where Mama told me, keep your head up and keep on going, and God will make a way. That's what brought me this far. They know where I am, Carter, but they don't know where I come from. I remember the nights when we couldn't pay the light bill, and they cut the electricity off. And I would sneak and look in my mother's room. She'd be on her knees calling on God. And that same God that took care of my mama, she taught me that God will take care of you. Be not dismayed. Whatever the time, God will. Not Trump will, God will. Not Congress will, God will take care of you. I'm glad I had a praying mother. I'm glad I had a sustaining mother. I'm glad I had a holy mother. I'm glad that I can show the world that a black mother can take somebody and make them what they need to be. The other side of this is that many of us did not come the debutante way. I told them in Pittsburgh the other night, and I let you go. We come up the rough side of the mountain. And when you climb the rough side, sometimes you slip. When you climb the rough side, sometimes you slide. And you look at the scars on my knees, but the scars represent me slipping on a rough side of the mountain. I didn't choose the mountain I climbed, but I chose to keep on climbing. They may have lied on me, but I kept climbing. They may have talked about me, but I kept climbing. They may have scandalized me, but I kept climbing. Even my own folks criticized me, but I kept on climbing. Because I know if I stopped climbing, I'd slip back all the way down. I know it was difficult. Sometimes my hands got weary. Sometimes my fingers wanted to give out, but I kept on climbing. I'm climbing higher mountains. I'm going to reach the top. I don't care what you say and what you do. I won't turn around. I come too far. I fought too hard. I stayed up too many nights. I cried too many tears. I prayed too many prayers. I can't turn around. Keep on climbing. Keep on climbing. Keep on climbing. Keep on climbing. Climb on. Climb on. Climb on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. I'm opening the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, you see our activities on TV, but you never became a member of the organization. If you're here today and have never joined and want to join one of our auxiliaries and work with us for the betterment of our community, all you have to do is come down either aisle and come to me, and we'll sign you up right now this morning to be a member of National Action Network. Come on, everybody sing it. Everybody sing. Everybody sing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. All right, let us raise our offering.